hear me out. So in Hammer and Scales, we've had success with playing Brightglass Gearhulk as a powerful 4-mana, 4/4 first strike trample double demonic tutor as a way for these linear aggro decks to have a way to fight through interaction. We're also planning to do this with Brood Scale, but this is the one I have built for today. One thing that I think is also really interesting about playing Gearhulk in INFECT is that you kind of incidentally have 28 mana sources in the deck for your 4-drop. You have 4 green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor or for Noble Hierarch, which also casts your Gearhulk and splashes for Mockingbird really conveniently. And you have the Hierarch. So you just have 28 mana sources, which lets you cast the card pretty reliably. The card also lets you get double Venerated Rotpriest, and like Gearhulk and the double Venerated Rotpriest to me seems like an excellent way to fight through interaction. Also, if you need pump spells, you can get Rancor with Gearhulk too. So it's not like this, like you can only get creatures. You can also get pump spells, which is pretty cool. And then you can get extra hate cards on the side, and you can get Mockingbird for grind. You can also Mockingbird your Rotpriest or a Hierarch, which seems to be pretty nice. I really like Gearhulk. I think Gearhulk is so fun to brew. And I think, and like this formula in general is something I kind of like, right? Where we are a Glistener Elf Hierarch deck that can just kill like Titan and can kill Eldrazi, can kill Breach in theory pretty quickly, and then you also have like this as like a really powerful grindy plan as well. And then in the matchups where you're trying to kill quickly, you're also bringing in efficient sideboard cards too. Devourer of Destiny revealed. Yeah, so a Labyrinth, a Null Drifter, and a Myco spawn. And they play a Labyrinth. And print the Devourer. Kind of into Boseiju this turn. Makes me a lot better against K return. I think I want to draw step to play around Surveil land a little bit. With Green Sun as Ground Rift Rotpriest Storm a possibility again? Yeah, maybe. I know that, I think that Canister, maybe Doomwake, maybe Dingo were playing that a little bit when Green Sun came out. I don't know what like the results were. I might be letting them K return or K command here, but thankfully we have a backup elf. Okay, they scry draw instead of making a spawn. Typically this is a tell, of course, as to the strength of their hand. And they play a sprawl. And then we draw a Gearhulk, which is exciting. It seems that I'm going to want to not play the Rancor this turn because I get kind of got by K return that way. So they're passing with a return or a command up, it seems. I'm going to fetch. If they like return right now, it is pretty bad, but I think I'm going to get my Surveil. It's not as, you know. And they do make spawns. Okay, so we do get to Vines. Any way to hedge against Wrath of the Skies, the Asmo Monument, just lose? I mean, you can draw cards with Monuments. You're going to lose a lot of time, though. Okay, so I can go Green Sun for Rotpriest, maybe. Then I put the 2, in fact. I think I'm just going to graveyard this. Would rather draw a Pump Spell or a land. Why can't you play Rancor against K return? Well, my creature would die. If I keep up the Vines kick, my creature doesn't die. Eight infect. They draw quite good. Double K command, double land into something big, presumably. A Karn. Interesting. They lose if they play a bridge, don't they? Then they can't, and they tapped in a way they can't explosives on one. They would need to somehow get a card out of their hand and play bridge, which seems like would have to be like exactly Dismember or K Command. I think they maybe just mistapped and they were planning on going for explosives. They get Soulless Jailer. Huh. So we have some lethal top decks. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen a lot of Ballista, but that could have been it. Okay, well, looks like they're gonna get to untap with the Karn. Hey nerds. Hope you all doing well. Why not play Enigma of Sigardazade Hammer? I mean, I think that's a pretty different deck, but yeah, I think that's a pretty different deck. Is the short answer to that question. Doesn't seem like it's good here. This is maybe another answer. Okay, so they're going to explosives for 1. They kill the Utopia Sprawl. So if we draw a land, we're in pretty good shape. And if we don't, we're not in pretty good shape. All right. The Rancor comes back to our hand. I can just get Rotpriest, and then Rotpriest, Rancor is lethal. Come on! Not Dryad Arbor. Not Lush Portico either. Both fetch buff Gearhulk though. I know that. If you've been watching the stream, we've played lots of Gearhulk Sigardazade, but it's just I would not put it in this deck. And it seems a little nonsensical, to be honest. All right, so they kind of brick on the Rumble. Sprawl, Heath, Wooded Foothills. Or Woodland, rather. We have a Rancor as 2 durable pump spells, too. They choose the Shifting Woodland, which has nothing good to copy at the moment. We draw a Might of the Old Krosa. Or Old Krosa. Does make a top-decked Rotpriest lethal. And a Shifting Woodland, 2 mystery cards. They plus the Karn. Emrakul, probably. Michael Spawn. I mean, good news is this doesn't trigger the Sanctum. The bad news is I'm not going to cast the Gearhulk this game. They keep a card on top. And Rotpriest is not lethal anymore. No! No, dude. So do I hold up Might of the Old Krosa or of Old Krosa to play around K Return? They could have kept that on top. Yeah, they could also have kept K Command on top, but they could try exiling it, and then they would die to the Rotpriest. So sad. 4-mana tutor feels very ambitious in the deck. I agree. I mean, listen, it's Infect. You have to take some risks. But we have 28 mana sources between 4 Hierarch and 4 Green Sun Zenith. So it seems pretty doable in theory. Playing that last Rotpriest lost us the game. I don't know. We had to held in hand. This seems a little hindsight biasy to me. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. They get Chalice of the Void. Okay, so this is bad if they have K Return, but we still just win. They kept a card on top though, so they should have something good here. They play the Woodland. We can beat Myco Spawn, Worldbreaker. Yeah, maybe it was right to hold, but also do they get the explosives if we don't play the second Rotpriest? Like what if they just get Cityscape Leveler? Can be K Command. Can't be Devourer. Let's fucking go! Let's go. Alright. Easy game. Not even close. Alright, so I do think you don't want Gearhulks in this matchup, despite... Oh, maybe play 1 as a Green Sun target still. I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The Mutagenic Growths are pretty good against the K returns. think I want a Force of Vigor too. Probably down to Rancor. Is it ever Collector Ouphe? I'm not a big Collector Ouphe gamer against Eldrazi, but it does have its moments, obviously. Card on top with the Commercial District. There's a Talisman. Dismember. Utopia Sprawl. Force would be a pretty good top deck, I guess. All right, let's hold up the Consign. Also a good top deck. So I need to draw a fetch land after consigning to have a lethal become immense. Or I guess Muta. Spike, am I surprised looting hasn't done more to the format? Yeah, I think so. I definitely expected it to be a lot more impactful than it was. I've said this a few times that like the week looting came out, it felt like the best card in the format, and now it seems like every deck is just like really playing a lot of graveyard hate. Also, like the way the metagame has kind of evolved around Breach, the looting decks are kind of bad against. Also, like I think I've always been like a little surprised, I would say maybe, with how little do I care about this? I don't think I care about this. Like, it's just a 2-for-1 in my favor here. Like, it just kind of stopped me from playing other stuff. But it also stops them from playing other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're going to be deploying something and tapping out of the explosives. Rotpriest only triggers on spells. It doesn't trigger on abilities. Yeah, so it seems like I should counter this with the Might of Old Krosa. So looting is like Dredge, bad when people bring graveyard hate or when they don't. Yeah, I mean, like Dredge is kind of funny because it just is a Dredge card, yeah. Now, so replicate one time, targeting this trigger and this trigger. If they sack their Sanctum to get another Null Drifter, it's kind of interesting. Also, if we boarded in the Ouphe, the Green Sun would be like a lot better here too. You can't consign the EE activated ability, no. So attack put them to 7, INFECT. And then Rotpriest can put them to 8. Okay. Dealio. So if I go Rotpriest, Green Sun for Rotpriest, I lose to another Null Drifter getting back the K return pretty badly. So it seems like I should just play Rotpriest and hold up Become Immense to kind of play around that a little bit, and then I can get I can go next turn Green Sun for second Rotpriest, cast Mutagenic Growth, cast Become Immense when. Let's get ready to rumble. They find a Chalice of the Void, which doesn't stop me from winning next turn, a Emrakul, a Devour, and a Ugin's Labyrinth. Don't think they can cast that Emrakul. Double land, 5 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 types. Pretty close, but not quite there. Sprawl. What did they choose? They chose the Chalice. So they go Chalice, we go Green Sun X equals 1, Muta, Become Immense. That's 4 INFECT. Win the game. Kind of a funny top deck. All right. Indicate. Actual Indicate here is doing pretty good. Okay, turn 1, Scalding Tarn. I almost feel like I want to go turn 1 Glistener Elf. I can't quite present a turn 2 win. But if we are, so I think I want to play the Elf turn 1, because if we're playing a pretty interactive matchup, I want to be able to go Hierarch with Vines up to protect it, or to Surveil and to land number 4, hopefully, for the Gearhulk. And if we're not playing an interactive matchup, then the turn 1 Elf is better anyways. So I think it's better both ways to play this turn 1, if that makes sense. Okay, it did land on Veil of Summers. Couldn't remember. So they have a frog. So if I, scale up, they can discard their entire hand. And for a trade. Goes have Force, maybe. Force, indeed. So if I attack with my Glistener Elf, they only have to discard 1 card. We'll just go ahead and pass back then. So Preordained in the graveyard, 4 cards in their hand. Yeah, do they feel like they can even attack here? Yeah, they don't feel like they can attack. Let's just cast the Gearhulk. I think I'm going to get a basic forest. And then, what do we get? Double Rotpriest here, probably? Double Rotpriest seems pretty dang good. A little bit scared to get the Hierarch, or the Mockingbird, because this is my only blue mana. Seven Murktide Regent. Don't think they can one-shot me with the frog with only 3 cards in their hand, right? Seems unlikely at the very least. Doesn't really seem like they have a fatal push. We'll find out. Why royal treatment over all the green hexproof cards? I like the royal roll. I think the first royal treatment is like better than all the other ones, right? So Vines is the best because it's pump spell or protection spell. So you always play 4 Vines. And then the first royal treatment I think is better than anything else because it's like it leaves a +1/+1 ward 1, which is I think that is just clearly better. But in multiple copies they're worse because you can't get multiple royal roll tokens on stuff. But I think 5 protection spells is about where I wanted to land with the Gearhulk, kind of giving you that ability to grind through stuff. That makes sense. They're blocking with both of these, so we'll just see what they do here. They discard a snare. Discard another snare. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'm just going to put 4 damage here and 4 damage here, and this will make the Murktide just a 3/3, which doesn't exactly seem too dangerous. And we get the Rancor back, so we're just presenting lethal by 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we might as well attack first just to get them to 8 infect before we cast another spell. But, you know, this triggers on the stack. I don't really think there's... I guess they could have Consign. Okay, up a game against Dimir. Alright, so let's bring in the Veil of Summers. And go down the Mutagenic Growths. Just play 1 probably. Seems like a good sideboard plan to me. Bouncing back a little bit. Glad we gave this one second league. Gearhulk definitely won that game. It's weird that Modern has gotten slow enough that you can play a 4-drop that draws you the cards you need to win. Kind of sounds like the One Ring. I don't know. I think 4-drops have always been kind of playable. Gearhulk is definitely a crazy 4-drop in this format. The 1-mana permanents are just so powerful. Yeah, now that we have Gearhulk, we can just easily unban the One Ring. Well, I like this hand. Let's go ahead and keep it. Good chance I get a Dryad Arbor turn 1, so I can go Elf with Protection Spell up on turn 2. See what we draw. Feels like the plan. A little bit worse against Thoughtseize. Tough to play around. All right. Kind of a classic classic way to do it here. Rancor on the Arbor Elf. They're thinking about forcing, it seems. They graveyarded a Psychic Frog, which I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of scary. Either way, got to put it down to 14. Doesn't seem like this does that much. Yeah, it does some stuff. Time to pivot. So I think I'm going to get a Noble Hierarch. This will make my next turn a bit easier. And then it also lets me top deck Gearhulk. Probably thinking about Force of Negationing, I think. Should not be such a bad exchange. Yeah, I can't quite attack. If I had Vines instead of Mutagenic Growth, we could attack here notably, but then we would have gotten shields down for a Fatal Push, which also seems kind of scary. Only playing one Become Immense. It's a bit awkward that Green Sun shuffles back in, huh? I think the first copy's still okay. They put another copy of Force of Negation in the graveyard. I'm saying another because it seems so for sure that they have one copy in their hand here. Another Hierarch would kind of be the best draw. Okay. Interesting. Okay, don't really think I can cast that. I think I need to go be able to kick Vines with another Vines up. Although, you know, it kind of also feels like my opponent has Force, so it's not like this is going to be a great plan against that, huh? Wow, just one block here. I guess I kick a Vines. If they have Force, push, like, it just doesn't seem like a particularly winnable game anyways. I need to push some damage through. Just let it happen. I think it's just too bad to not push the extra damage through. I don't think we can beat push plus Force anyways. The extra card in the graveyard is also, like, incredibly important. Yeah, the extra, yeah, just I think we needed to cast it there. Some games with Infect you can play around everything. This is not one of them. It's a good chance we get Murktided. Fetch land would be a good draw. We can cast all of our cards, beat the Murktide. Okay. So, Might of Old Krosa lets me go for a win here. I think we should start off by casting this. Okay, so my options are to play around the Force of Negation that I suspect is in my opponent's hand. Yeah, I think I'm just jamming this. Despite me again suspecting they have it. Even if they like untap and they push this, I still have the Hierarch. If you're going to proactive Vines, why not pre-combat Rancor? Well, I thought my opponent was going to double block with Bowmaster and the token. And so I was thinking that I needed to Vines to get over that, right? But instead they chose to not do that. But I was really expecting the double block. So the pre-combat Rancor, if I kick the Vines, I don't have the other protective Vines up. All right, 2 on the bottom with Preordain. Consider. Your cantrips suck. All right, they push my Dryad. Can they also kill my Hierarch? If I go Rancor, I'm attacking for 6. My opponent would have to block, discard their entire hand, and then lose the frog. Assuming they don't have a land. They've already used 2 Force of Negations also, so not super likely they have another. Kick Vines. Kick Vines is a little bit worse than double Rancor, I think. Seems like they do have the Force. They Force pitch Subtlety. So they have 1 card in their hand. If I put a Rancor here, my opponent can... Yeah, so now I go attack and I kick the Vines, trade it for the Frog. Discard another Frog? Yeah, I know my Hierarch lives with the kicked Vines. I just decided to not play around a pump spell. It's so weird. All right, they top decking. You'd think if they had a removal spell, they would have cast it. They could have Bowmaster. No, they would have Bowmastered in response, or they should have. Okay, so they messed up. Not knowing how Rancor works. Why does it trade? I was talking about trading the Vines in my hand for the Frog in play, if that's what you're asking. Jerry with the 22 months. Thank you back. Well, hope you're doing well. All right, so we get to Surveil. Shout out Surveil and commenters. Although, we win the game anyways. Shout out Surveil and commenters. All right, so 0-2 with the 2-0. Oh. Don't love losing the die roll in this matchup. That was a good game. My opponent definitely made a couple of mistakes at the end. That is one thing about playing decks like this, is of course people do make some mistakes against you. Yeah, I don't know why you would play that card, Restoration Specialist. What's the point? So I think I want to be able to block a Felia and Mutagenic Growth. I think I also want to be able to maybe Surveil for a 3rd land. Have you updated Yigra Cat combo with Ketchumos? No, I don't exactly understand what the synergy is there. Like, yeah, there's not a lot of like exiling, and you don't want to exile your own yard very much in that deck. Why not play Rancor this turn? I said this, but I really am interested in surveilling. It's not a white source, which kind of stinks. Or a pump spell. I think we graveyard that actually. I would keep a fetch land, I think. Does feel like we're just gonna be a little slow. If they Solitude, I don't really think we can win, probably. We didn't get Solituded though. And we drew a lethal top deck. Seems like if they had Solitude, they would have used it, right? I wonder if I'm supposed to like Rancor my Rotpriest instead. I don't know. I'm all in. 0 mana spells can't hurt me. Seems like they have it. Let's go to game 2. Okay, so they already Thoughtseize Fatal Push deck. Consign also can help us against Solitude. I think we'll do 2, 3. Cut the mutas. Don't think I want to cut any more pump spells. Maybe we're kind of low anyway. 4, 12. Or so 4, 8, 10, 14, 15. Yeah, probably don't want to go lower than that. We'll cut the Mockingbird, I guess. Name with the 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Y'all playing the Elf here? I think they're a Thoughtseize deck. I'm going to play the Elf. I would do it again. Well, we could win the game next turn with a protection spell up. Although it doesn't exactly seem like, you know, my opponent should let me hold up that protection spell. Maybe they will if they have Solitude. That's what they did last time. Oh, imagine they have Felia here. Do I ever go Rotpriest instead then? Okay. All right, I think this game has been piloted as well as possible so far. Where you stream from, mate? I've been down here for months. It seems like where have you been, mate? I've been down here since last year. All right, another Fatal Push. They're currently dead to my Become Immense. You know, if it's turn 4 and we beat Felia, pending push, I'll feel pretty good about that. Not a bad top deck either. Thanks, a good name for the 3. I think I said thank you. All right, so we've successfully gone to game 3. I do think that I'm going to probably go down to just 1 Veil on the draw. So let's bring in the 4th Consign. Well, 4th Consign's so many. All right, let's take it back. Ship it. All right, keep this one. Putting Moles to 6. If we can beat Eldrazi into Dimir into Black-White, I'll feel pretty good. This matchup is probably our worst matchup. Maybe Boros is worse. Keeps a card on top. Top Godless Shrine. Passes. Hopefully they got some Fatal Pushes in their hand. Maybe not 3. Alright, just gonna attack. The Vines doesn't give us lethal anyways. Okay, well, we will Might to kill Ophelia if they chump block. Or, sorry, wouldn't be a chump rock, right? I think they call that just a block. So if they have an Ephemerate, it's very bad for us, but that is... there's no way for that to not be the case. You don't really beat Solitude Ephemerate, you know. At least I don't. And they get their Felia around. Yeah, I guess this is game. Couldn't you have done the Vines before the Solitude resolved? I could have done Vines. Maybe it wasn't clear, but I was intentionally not playing around Ephemerate. If my opponent has Ephemerate here, they're still going to be able to rebound the Ephemerate, get rid of my elf. I guess I would maybe have a creature left. Then the Felia was around, but I was certainly thinking that I couldn't beat it. Maybe I was wrong in thinking that it was unbeatable. If you did Vines in response to Solitude cast, 3 bounce to kills the elf, yeah. So I think just intentionally not playing around Ephemerate, like my opponent also mulliganed. It seemed fine. But maybe it was better to do it the other way. Kai with the 8 months, thank you, welcome back. I saw the saddest, funniest comment under yesterday's YouTube vid where Spike yelled. I asked Gloom to edit out the yell. I really hope he did. Interesting. So we're taking 6. He did not? Damn. I asked him to. Sorry about that. All right, this is going to be a tough one. If I could just cast that Gearhulk, we'd be cooking. Okay. Yeah, we've cast Hulk at least once. I think twice. Fatal push. Yeah, we have 20 lands and 8 mana dorks if you count the Green Suns. You know, the first Ephemerate, pretty tough to beat. The second one, I'm not having the highest hopes. They're adapting to put me to 3. Can't cycle the Veil of Summer. I have to draw actual Temple Garden to cast the Brightglass Gearhulk too, because I don't have a basic plains. That's not even seeming like that stabilizes me, so... I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was possible to have played around the Solitude Ephemerate this game, but... Okay, so I have Vines in response. I couldn't have kicked the Vines in response to was also the problem, right? So, like, when they go Solitude, I only had 1 mana, so if I cast the Vines... I kill the Felia, but I still lose my agent also. Bauble Watery Grave. Neck Goif, cool. So I'm going to try to Lush Portico into 4th land if I don't find one. Well, maybe that was ambitious. Curious about what their list looks like, of course. Okay, so let's pivot away from the Gearhulk then. And get a second Rotpriest in play. Don't forget about the trick to Vines opponent's creature before ephemerate. Ooh, I guess, yeah. I guess that could have been it. Okay, not the best Inquisition. Does grow the Goyf, though. 3 cards in hand over there. I'm down to 12. Maybe going to Surveil again. Oh, cracking the fetch for the 4th type. I missed that was available. So probably casting another spell. A 1/2 frog. So let's attack with this Rotpriest. If my opponent wants to go exile 3 cards from their graveyard and discard 2 cards to kill it, I think that's going to be a fine exchange for us. Is Gearhulk a little clunky in this deck? I encourage you, if you have this question, to relax a little bit, right? Because it's like, let's think about this critically. If Gearhulk is clunky in this list, that's fine. Infect is still unplayable, right? Of course, Infect is still unplayable. If Gearhulk is good in this list, and it's been good in decks like this, like Hammer and Scales, this can give some breath to the archetype, right? So it's like it's not that like, is Gearhulk clunky in this deck? That isn't a question you necessarily should be asking, because this is not a deck without Gearhulk. Without Gearhulk, I'm not interested in playing this deck. It has nothing going on for it. It's a shitty tier 5 deck. You know what I mean? And maybe with Gearhulk it's a shitty tier 3 deck. But yeah, you just don't need to sweat. You just don't need to sweat it, because you can't play this deck without the Gearhulk, I think. Okay. I feel like I should be not taking the full damage here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like this is like, Infect, a playable modern deck. Oh, can we really add Gearhulk? Is the stock version better? No, of course not. You know what I mean? Like, you have to get off. In order to work on an archetype like this, you have to break some deck building norms. What the hell? Yeah, we also we have 28 mana sources in the deck if you count Green Sun, which I think you should. They push the Hierarch knowing I have the Gearhulk in my hand. And then they Thoughtseize me. Does Scale Up kill them? Scale Up kills them. So yeah, if I take 5, I feel like I'm just like dying to the frog a little bit too hard next turn. Seems like we're cooked out of this game. The opponent's build is really interesting. We do have a bunch of Veil of Summers. Yeah, I think just in 3 Veil, out 3 Growth, click Submit. Ah yes, don't stick to any cohesive Infect strategy and then say you made it better. Well, the Turtle, I'm not saying that this build is better than normal Infects, right? I'm not claiming that. I've had some success in testing. I think the build is kind of interesting. I am saying that normal Infect is completely unplayable, or very close to completely unplayable. This is like that build isn't working. Let's try a different approach. An approach that has been working in other archetypes. I think that is a very reasonable attitude to have, right? And I think if you're interested in saying I wouldn't play Gearhulk here, like, you might not be wrong for saying that, but I'm saying if I'm not interested in playing non-Gearhulk Infect, so let's try Gearhulk Infect. I don't maybe we're saying the same things, maybe we're not, but that's my attitude. This guy getting baited by 2 common Andes. Yeah, this is another thing that I would like to address. when I respond to comments like this, I'm trying to have a productive conversation about Magic the Gathering and help people understand my perspective and help people get better. And I think doing so is really productive as well. I don't want to be a streamer that is dismissive of people either. So I think we could all be a little nicer to each other for sure. It's June that bait. I don't understand how Gearhulk makes it better. With a combo aggro back, dragging out a Forge up to only get some more creatures doesn't do much. Yeah, and so this is a fine comment, and I agree. I think we're gonna have a good conversation here. So you may have missed the Hammer version of we played Gearhulk and Hammer and we trophied, and it's kind of a similar formula, right? You have acceleration between Green Sun and Hierarch, so you can cast this stuff on turn 3, like you have Springleaf Drip and Mox Opal. And the problem with Hammer and the problem with this deck is you fold really hard to removal spells. And so Gearhulk is a really powerful 3-for-1 that gets double Rotpriest, and all of a sudden, if you can stick a Gearhulk, you're really good against a pile of removal spells. Is the short answer. It's just a way for you to go from being not very good against these effects to pretty dang good against these effects. I think I need to keep this because if they kill my Hierarch, I need to be able to cast a Gearhulk, I think. Yeah, but of course, like this stream is about brewing and trying out ideas and maximizing ideas. You know, that's what we do here on this channel, is try ideas and maximize them. And sometimes the ideas will work, and sometimes they won't. But and you know, sometimes you're gonna agree with my thoughts, and sometimes you won't. But that's what we're doing here, is trying new stuff, right? Okay, so this is 2, 6. 10, 12. Spike got stunlocked. Yeah, I'm also trying to adjust this. I'm not stunlocked. I'm trying to help you be better at Magic. I don't understand. maybe I'm stunned. I'm responding to someone and trying to convey my thoughts to you. And to understand, and try to help you understand my thought process and what we're doing here. I'm genuinely interested in a dialogue about Magic the Gathering, and not just ignoring comments and like, yeah. Yes, yeah, kind of sounds like getting stunlocked to me. Yeah, clearly stunlocked. Is it possible when a Shard Mage just rescued a 2-drop Gearhulk? I like that thought. It could be good. Although, like, it's probably worse than just getting double Rotpriest. Yeah, because my opponents chose not to block. I think we're going to smash them down to 3 life. Which is going to make it pretty awkward for them to attack with the Frog if they don't have another blocker. Make Thoughtseize is not... Okay, Saga is pretty bad. All right, looking for a Green Sun or for a Gearhulk for Green Sun, I guess. It's a Deluge, X equals 1. Wow. That, not very easy to play around. Yeah, I think we've had a good conversation, Turtle Eye, of course. I wouldn't dismiss his bait. Would Dimir Nightmare be more consistent, more blue creatures for Flare of Denial? I've tried the blue creature Flare build. I don't think it's super very good. Yeah, I know like these like thoughtful answers and discussions about like cards are like what makes this stream good. So I just I hope that we can all be a little bit more patient with each other. All right, let's top deck a Gearhulk. I think they're just gonna get a Shadow Spear though. Make me show it, or make them show me the spear. All right, that works too. Okay, 2-0 and a 2-2. I'll happily take a 3-2 if we can get there though. We can get a prediction here. This hand would be way better if this Dryad Arbor was any fetch land. I think I should probably just mulligan. Can keep this one. Probably putting back... I think probably putting back the Rancor. I'm not sure, but I feel like this is like a ramp into a green sun for Gearhulk hand. My opponent's on a mold of 5. So mold of 5, Blood Crypt, maybe a hollow one. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do with Restoration Breach and 4 color. Okay. Yeah, I just don't understand how this card is ever better than like a Sevinne's Reclamation. Like, what am I missing? Like, this is like I don't understand like what even compels you to like think about putting this card in your deck. Sacrifice Restoration Specialist, return up to 1 target artifact card and 1 enchantment card. You could get 2. Okay. I thought it was Orb. I still don't really think it makes that much sense, but listen, if you're all in on this card, go in, give it a go. I did miss the Orb. It just doesn't feel like this is how like oh, they're gonna I have this stuff in my graveyard and then I cast the specialist to get back the breach. Like you're always like you put just breach into. I guess you could mill over with Emery. I don't know. It doesn't seem like an axis that breach needs help attacking on, but I do kind of understand a little bit better now. Like it wouldn't be a main deck thing, I think either. Seems like maybe like only good against like Thoughtseize decks. Starting to see more and more burn, listing well in the challenge. Any reason, or is the meta cyclical sometimes? Well, the reason is because the meta cyclical, right? So burn is just like actually pretty solid against black-white. It's solid against breach. It's solid against Eldrazi. It's can never beat Titan, and it can't beat energy. But energy had kind of been falling off a little bit. But it does seem over this weekend, energy is picking back in popularity some. But it's got 4 cards in their hand. A lot of thinking happening here. Mount Doom. Suspend Profane Tutor. Well. How's Brightglass been in this build so far? We haven't casted that much, to be honest. It's been stuck in our hand a bunch too. I think that Gearhulk in these kind of shells, in theory, is pretty good to fight through the interaction. It's been that case in Hammer. It's been that case in Scales. I'm excited to try it in Brood Scale soon. But it has been stuck in our hand a bunch today. At the very least, I wouldn't worry too much about regular, in fact, so we can at least give this one an honest try. It definitely did win us 1 game against Dimir. Opponent maybe double queuing. Energy is not bad right now to me. It needs adjustment. Toolbox for new meta. Guide, Pride of Johnny Bombard is still broken. Flage as well. Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I do think that like Boros is a really busted deck with a lot of powerful stuff, but it does suffer from the fact that I think it just has a generally unfavorable matchup against Black White and Breach and Titan and Eldrazi when they main deck a bunch of K returns. So it's like it's hard to hedge against all of those things with like sideboard changes too, if that makes sense. Like, to me, that's a bit more than just we need some sideboard adjustments, if that makes sense, too. Yeah. Boros is good against, like, a lot of, like, random stuff, for sure. Seeing like getting Hierarch, but I feel like it's better to go for the Rancor. I know this isn't a super novel thought, but energy is broken, Ketchermos is broken. Have we put Ketchermos in energy? People have played Ketchermos plus Guide Pride. I don't think I've seen Ketchermos Guide Pride to Johnny. Bombardment could be fine. You would need to play Relic over Flage, probably. When testing a deck, how do you know when to tweak a land? Is it just gut, social experience, or do you track when you lose to Flood Screw? I'm not keeping track of the amount of matches I get flooded or screwed, no. I think that's an interesting question. I'm having a hard time giving you a clear formula chart, probably. I think it becomes clear after a big enough sample size. Elk with the 22 months, thank you, welcome back. This deck is a bit difficult for Flood Screw because so much of our mana is reliant on the mana dorks too. Gonna get persisted here. Worse. Well, 2 isn't 0. I get the Rancor back to my hand. They've got 2 cards in their hands. Let's play it out. Sadly, I can't royal roll for 1 extra permanent to keep stuff in play. Okay, that'll just draw 1 land. Oh, I forgot about Mount Doom. I should have surveilled first. So the problem is if we surveil, we can't fetch. Yeah, we're just dead to Mount Doom. Okay, so down a game against Rakdos Goryo's. I think they probably have Krakenwick Cremator too. Consign is kind of interesting where it stops the Annihilator, so if I can keep my life total up, should be pretty good. A lot of times they're like Cookbook Asmo also. Deafening Silence stops Profane Tutor into Goryo, stops looting into Goryos. It's also kind of bad for me. It's mostly just anti-storm off Gearhulk. I think if my plan is to like keep my life total higher, cutting Mutagenic Growths makes sense. Yeah, Consign also stops Profane Tutor. Dead to Mount Doom to its activated ability or some other interaction. Yeah, I'm at 2 and they activate it twice. High level stuff. I had 2 life. What do I do up against Mount Doom? I just lose. All right, on the play. Let's keep. Like I said, I'm pretty interested in keeping my life total kind of cheesy peasy low. So, or sorry, high. I think I will lead on a Rotpriest though. Seems a little bit too much to just like lead on Surveil. We may just not be able to plan to consign Annihilator trigger. Also, we have the cage, so we don't probably need to worry about that so much. Opponent is taking their time. Okay, let's go. Favorite Aether Drift card so far? Gearhulk is my favorite. I also really like Monument to Endurance. Ketravos is the best, but you know, I enjoy brewing around these other cards more probably. All right, left a Nile Spellbomb. Don't need to play the cage here unless I wanted to play around Thoughtseize. She doesn't seem like I need to. Five cards in their hand. Any updates coming to Hammer Brightglass list? Probably not anytime super soon. Does Rodmath become playable with Arena of Glory? I mean, I've seen people do that. It doesn't seem that bad. So next turn I have 6 points of damage. Might upkeep Surveil. Yeah, I don't think I've ever Graveyard Trespasser, Arena of Glory, but it does seem pretty good. Alright, so spins a Profane Tutor. Getting Dryad Arbor doesn't increase my damage, so let's just look for a pump spell. Not a pump spell. This does help me stop Profane Tutor. Could also stop Cremator, ETB. I think I'm going to graveyard it, though. Yeah, let's just put our opponent to 1. And then if they... this turns off fetch lands, and I can get Dryad Arbor to have a secondary lethal attacker end of turn. Is Spellbomb good against me? No, I would not keep it in. Kind of funny if they go like Nature's Claim my Cage, then Goryo's my... Or the Goryo's Yargle, I could block it with the Dryad Arbor. Okay, going to game 3. They are a Fatal Push deck, confirmed. Let's cut the last Muta. Let's play 2 Veil of Summers. I cut a Green Sun Zenith because I've got the cages. Oh, right, the cage stops. Oh, but yeah, but this is also only if they like Nature's Claim me, right? But I guess it doesn't work if they have removal spell. Good catch. A little bit of a tension there. Deafening Silence. I thought about Deafening Silence. It is good against looting. Maybe it's actually... It's looting into Goryo's plus Emrakul, but less good against Yargle. But I guess Yargle stinks. But also, I want to cast multiple spells on my turn a lot of the time. Anything more with the Urza deck from the day in which you hardcast Emrakul Ulamog? I mean, there's a lot of content for that deck on the YouTube. But I haven't played it since then. Alright, let's mulligan. See what my opponent's doing. They're thinking. Alright, let's keep... Let's go back to the Become Immense. They did keep 7. Grixis Nightmare with Arena of Glory and Trespasser sounds pretty fun. Yeah, I usually only like to play Trespasser when Boros is really popular. Boros does seem to be getting a little bit more popular. They take the Rotpriest after some deliberation. Gotta graveyard this. Definitely not a great mulligan we've had here. Suspends a Profane Tutor. Probably a bit better to get the second land into play than to play just the naked Glistener Elf. Although if they have literally nothing and we drew a land, we could present lethal. There's a looting. They can't Goryo's and Emrakul right now. I'm not particularly scared of Yargle, I guess. Discard Profane Tutor, Bloodstained Mire, so they play a Verge. Thoughtseize is my elf, so we're punished, huh? They telegraph having removal by taking the Rotpriest, no. Maybe. I think it's kind of hard to read into a little bit. Like, they might just be more scared. Yeah, I know they can get the cookbook off the Saga. Alright, go Dryad Arbor. We can remember that good match we had against Dimir today. Yeah, all of a sudden they're playing much faster. Cookbook. There it is. We do survive a Yargle hit, funny enough. So if I draw a land, I can make this a... I guess not really quite big enough. So is the plan to if this shout out the Surveilland haters, by the way. Although if this was a Temple Garden, we couldn't have shocked it anyways. So it seems like my only real plan here is to block and then double Might and 3-for-1 myself, and then hope to get up to here. Do a Rancor to go to the town next turn. Well, the problem is I'm at 2 life point town, so my opponent can just attack me. Oh, sorry. I should have. I should have Rancored though. I didn't need to use both Mites. See if it ends up mattering. This doesn't have trample. They do have a lot of air in their deck. We're drawing a Temple Garden. They decide to not... They forget about their Faithless Looting too. Maybe they'll crack the food token end of turn. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll... Sorry, they'll just... never mind. I'm silly. I forgot about Cookbook's ability. So they get back the Cremator. Then they play their land. And they play the Cremator. So if I could draw a fetch land or a basic forest and play this Gearhulk, we probably have a win. And if we don't, we probably have a L. That was on my list. I don't just get 2 more Rancors, do I? I think we get Grafdigger's Cage, Noble Hierarch, because this makes it to where I'm attacking for 7. I guess they go to 9, don't they? Seems tough to not get the Cage. Yeah, let's get the Noble. Because this will leave me like a chump blocker back here. Okay, we faded the immediately snap, keep a card on top. But it seems like a card they're considering. Maybe it's a Goryo's Vengeance. They're like, can I just go... Oh, they have the Yargle. I'm dead to Goryo's, so that's bad. Maybe it's Profane Tutor, and they're thinking, do I have enough time to Profane Tutor? Why not Rancor plus Hierarch? My opponent can crack the food, and then they can block here, and then it'll be 8 plus 1, so that's 9 minus 4 is 5, and they would have survived had they not cracked this fetch land, right? So it seemed like this was better. Was lethal? It was not lethal, right? What am I miscounting? So like, I think you're counting them being at 5. They haven't cracked the fetch yet. I think you should not count them not cracking the fetch, because if you show them Hierarch Rancor, they know I have this other Rancor in my hand, they'll play around it. So if they're at 9 and I make this 9 power and then they take 4, yeah, they're just alive. Okay, they put it was Profane Tutor they were thinking about. They decided no. But I also said that when I was tutoring, didn't I? Really want the Infect 3/2. Is Rotpriest better than Hierarch? It still attacks for regular damage and gives you a chance to hit multiple Infect them out. Well, they have 0 poison, so I think infecting them out is like not really a thing here. So I do think the Hierarch is better, yeah, but it's a convo probably. I'll be pretty sad if I'm dead to this looting somehow. They discard Thoughtseize and they discard Bloodstained Mire. I don't have any... I'm out of Arbors, I'm out of Surveils. Is there ever a world where I crack this fetch? I don't know. It seems not like I can bluff anything because they can't play around any bluff. Maybe I would stack this to an Emrakul, but then I would die to the Emrakul, so it's probably not planned for that. So they do plan to go to 1. So this would have been a reason to get the second Rancor, but then you basically play around push versus Goryo's, but there's still 4 Goryo's in the deck. I don't know how many pushes. I think 4 of each. Cage stops looting flashback, which is kind of minor. Plays a Cookbook. Cage doesn't block Goryo. No, so I'm saying, so last turn we could have tutored Rancor instead of Cage to play around them having push on this turn versus us playing around them having Goryo's on this turn. And we chose to play around Goryo's instead of playing around push. All right, I'm going to attack. Yeah, shout out Idyllic Grange. I've been wanting to play Grange in Ketchamos, by the way, for Emperor of Bones. I feel like it just probably is correct the more I think about it. I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody here has tried it. So this puts them to 4, and then they go to 1. So we're still gaming here. They don't have that many outs that get them there. Like basically nothing, right? Like what even could it be with 1 card? like Damnation. Can't be Goryo's. Can't, and they have Vampire's Vengeance, not Damnation. It can't be Cremator because they have no cards in hand to kill me with. Okay, they main phase return Cremator. And then that triggers Revolt on the Fatal Push. But they're at 1. And you know what? Noble Hierarch for the win is a pretty good way to end this. Okay, you know what? An Infect 3-2 is pretty good. 2 of our match wins were absolutely because of Gearhulk against Dimir and this match. So for whatever that's worth to all the Gearhulk haters out there, I would not say Infect is back. The deck didn't exactly feel good. It did feel like maybe the Gearhulk is a step in the right direction, and maybe this is a way we could build the deck going forward. But I'm happy with an Infect 3-2. I'm gonna work on the Brood Scale Gearhulk deck tonight. I think that sounds more promising, to be quite honest, than this. So we'll work on that. I'm also like been kind of itching.